Welcome. We appreciate you coming out this fine morning. I'm Mike Meidel. I'm the Director of Economic Development for Pinellas County. And on behalf of Rick Homans, the CEO of Tampa Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation, and myself, welcome. We're here to report on the outcomes of our business development mission to Santiago, Chile from Monday, December 1st through Friday, December the 5th. Rick and I lead the Tampa Bay Export Alliance, a partnership between our two organizations that was the first trade mission we had organized and executed, and we're thrilled with the results. Before I go too far, I want to thank Lori Belovich, the Tampa Hillsborough EDC's Director of International Business Development, who worked closely with the teams at both of our economic development organizations to organize this trip and get us all safely home and safe and sound. Thank you, Lori. There we go. I also want to thank Stacy DeMars, Brent Barkway, and Stacy Swank for their support. With us this morning are Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn, St. Petersburg Mayor Rick Kriseman, Pinellas County Commissioner Karen Seal, and Hillsborough County Commissioner Les Miller. I want to thank them for taking the time and making the considerable effort to lead this important mission. I'll make some brief comments, then I'll ask Rick to outline some of the high-level successes, and then we'll ask each of our elected officials to make some brief comments. Then we'll open it up for questions. Joining us in Santiago was an impressive delegation from Tampa Bay, about 40 people altogether, including Santiago Corrada, President and CEO of Visit Tampa Bay, who traveled with his staff and staff from the Visit St. Pete Clearwater organization. Ron Cristaldi, incoming chairman of the Greater Tampa Chamber of Commerce. Stu Rogel, President and CEO of Tampa Bay Partnership. Raul Alfonso, Executive Vice President of Port Tampa Bay. Chris Minner, Vice President of Tampa International Airport. Deborah Wilkinson, Executive Director of the Tampa Bay Trade and Protocol Council. Pamela Cordova, Marketing Manager for Corp Airlines, who joined us from Miami. Kelly Kirshner, Dean of Executive and Continuing Education at Eckerd College. Paul Dosel, Vice Provost at the University of Florida, and Kevin Schuker, Tampa Market President of BBVA Compass, who was a major sponsor for this mission. Thank you, Kevin. Most importantly, we traveled with 14 companies, mostly from Tampa Bay, who went to Chile to sell their products and services. You'll find a complete list and description in your press package. Many of the representatives of these companies are here with us this morning and available to report on their activities. I want to thank Max Stewart from Enterprise Florida, Eileen Rodriguez and her staff from the Small Business Development Center, and the team at the U.S. Commercial Service of the Department of Commerce, who all worked for months to research the market for our Tampa Bay companies, set up meetings, and then accompany them over the past 3 days. We thought we would take Santiago by storm, and we did. I'd like to ask Rick to provide a few snapshots of the overall success from the program.
Great, thank you, Mike. And just a little clarification, Paul Dosel is with the University of South Florida, not the University of Florida. That's my mistake. I prepared, helped Mike with the talking points for this press conference. As Mike said, we branched out all over Santiago last week, and we expect that our meetings will deliver very strong economic results for Tampa Bay. Some highlights. We had 14 companies. They held combined over 100 meetings while we were in Santiago. Some of those meetings are continuing as we sit here today. Many of them actually signed deals and sold product while on the trip. The industries represented on the trip were very diverse, and these are all products and services that Chile needs to purchase. Power industry services, wastewater screening, custom auto transmissions, marine supplies, solar lighting, custom manufacturing, heavy machinery, agricultural equipment, custom stonework, and emergency oxygen equipment are some of the companies that were with us. To say that this trip was productive would be a complete understatement. One company reported writing 3 purchase orders while we were in Chile. In fact, several of them are still today on this holiday in Chile. While the results are still being tallied, because obviously some of this is still underway, the companies have reported 33 solid sales leads from the meetings, and already an estimated $9 million in expected export sales. So some really strong numbers coming from this, and we'll report the final numbers to you as soon as they're available. Santiago and his team in Santiago. We always, it's good. It worked out nicely. Met with nearly 150 tour operators and travel agents and laid the groundwork for inbound familiarization tours coming up. These were really important meetings because of the new visa waiver program between the United States and Chile, so tourism expected to be a real big area. Our mayors met with Mayor Carolina Doha of Santiago and signed a cooperative agreement worked out by the Tampa Bay Trade and Protocol Council, pledging support for increased trade, education, and cultural activities between our cities. Our delegation, at that time led by Raul Alfonso, the Executive VP of the Port Tampa Bay, met with the Major Fruit Export Association of Chile and began to explore the possibility of bringing Chilean fruit through Port Tampa Bay, which would be a huge opportunity. We met with the American Chamber of Commerce of Chile and the Chilean Government Economic Development Agency to learn about their efforts to build an entrepreneurial ecosystem and how we could potentially collaborate. University of South Florida and Eckerd College met with their counterparts and explored exchange programs and marketed our universities to Chilean students and businesses. A highlight of the trip was the reception on Tuesday evening at the home of U.S. Ambassador Michael Hammer, and attended by dozens of Chilean business leaders, as well as our entire delegation was there. And we appreciate the hospitality that the ambassador extended to us. And finally, Mike and I were able to meet with two companies who are seeking to invest in Tampa Bay, and we've already been able to connect them with private sector partners here who will assist them. One of the major reasons for picking Santiago for this mission is because it is a key market for Copa Airlines, and Pamela is here with us today and her new representative in this market. She'll introduce him in a bit. And we want to do everything possible to increase business travel between Tampa Bay and all of Latin America. Missions such as this is exactly how we spread the word about our community at an international level and how we help Copa be successful and eventually increase its frequency of flights here in Tampa Bay. It's not lost on us that other airlines are watching the work that we do very closely, how we come together, work as a team. And this kind of effort that we did in Chile is exactly helps to understand the reason why Lufthansa will be starting nonstop flights between this market and Germany next September. Our most tangible goal through this mission and others we've taken to Colombia, Panama, and Brazil is to help our companies open up new markets, and we accomplished that. The mission we executed last week put all of our boots as a region on the ground on foreign soil, and we believe the results will benefit our economy here in Tampa Bay. I'd like to introduce the elected officials, if they could say a few words, and I also want to acknowledge that our chairman of the EDC, Ron Bowen, President of the University of Tampa, is here with us today. Thank you, Ron, for being with us. So with that, Chairman Seal.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
I have to say that this mission was, as stated, a first, a combination between Tampa and Hillsborough and St. Petersburg and Pinellas County, and it was, without a doubt, Team Tampa Bay making strides into the Chilean market. It was a qualified success. We found out very quickly through all of our meetings that the Chilean market only knew about Miami. And we certainly were able to make the efforts and make the case that Tampa Bay is an area in which they need to concentrate on in doing business with us. And also, on the other hand, we also receive a lot of their exports. We learned that they are number 17 in exports in food and drink to the United States. The Pro-Chile group was very interesting. I think that was the meeting I found to be the most productive. They also have the oldest ministry in Chile is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they've been in business for 143 years. Chile realizes that they are part of the world market, and they want to be a dominant player both in imports and in exports. So we had, I also was able to go to the Visit Tampa Bay and the Visit St. Petersburg Clearwater tourism program, and after the program was presented, I had several travel agents come up and say, we are booking business, we are working with COPA, we are making strides and bringing more tourists to this market. The other interesting thing that I learned from the pro-Chile presentation is that Chilean investors are making up to $80 billion in foreign investments in countries. And the U.S. right now is about 7% of that, and they want to continue to make strides in that direction as well. And a good example was we met with Fernando Fishman, and incidentally and coincidentally, Crystal Lagoons was featured in the Florida Trend. And he stated that while he started in Chile, that the United States is really so business friendly that he is starting an office in Miami. He also has at least 2 projects that will be constructed in the Tampa Bay area. And so we will continue to see the strides that we already made and more strides to come. This was just a start, but it was an excellent team, Tampa Bay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Buckhorn.
Madam Chairman, thank you. I think what you are seeing here before you is the turning of the page in a chapter of Tampa Bay. I think we all realize that we are so much stronger together, we are so much better together, we're so much more competitive together, that we are competing as a region around the globe. We're not competing as individual cities, that the assets that each of us bring to the table complement each other. And so to know that for the first time, under the guidance of Rick and Mike and coordinated by some pretty amazing staff members and Lori and Deborah, that the Bay Area is going out and telling the Bay Area story, not just Tampa's story, to the world. And for us, I think this bodes well for a much more prosperous future, a much more dynamic future, a recognition that the old days are done, and that we are so much better working as a team than we are working separately. And putting aside for just a minute the long 20-year relationship that Mayor Kriseman and I have, I think each of us saw in those conversations in Chile the potential that exists for us as a community and as a Bay Area. And when you think about our global reach and you think about the need to expand beyond just domestic trade, to look to the assets that we have, whether it's the airport, whether it's the port, whether it's USF St. Pete and the marine sciences, whether it's the beaches on the Pinellas side or the theme parks on the Hillsborough side, that we have the entire package, and we can be and should be and will be as competitive as anybody in the country. COPA provides us that gateway. That, I can tell you, has made a huge difference in our ability to go tell our story around the world, and for the recipients of that story to come here to experience what we all know is an amazing an American region. And we are thankful for COPA's confidence in us. I think we have rewarded them financially in terms of load capacity. I think they are doing well, and I think they recognize, like a lot of markets in Central and South America, that they may know all about Miami, and they may know all about the mouse. But this is a community that is open for business, that is multicultural, that is multilingual, that looks like the world in every sense of that description, and that is prepared to be a great partner for the countries and the businesses that we visit. And so for me, knowing that we are moving forward together, and that we are united in our belief that our best days are yet to come as a region, and that what happens in St. Petersburg benefits Tampa, and what happens in Hillsborough County benefits Pinellas County. I think our days looking forward are pretty exciting, and we need to do more of this. We can't listen to those that would say that these are junkets, because I would submit to you that I dare anybody who says that to come and travel with us sometime, because we will flat wear you out. But that's what we're there for. We are there to take advantage of those opportunities, and we are there to do business and to get business. And I can tell you this, you don't get that business sending emails. You get that business by showing up and making your case in person, because people want to do business with people that they know and they trust and they have a relationship with, and that is our path to the future. And so we will go anywhere, anytime, to talk to anybody about the Tampa Bay area, and I promise you that at the end of this, not only on the tourism side, not only on the cultural exchanges, but this is going to make a difference in our diversification of our economy and will pay dividends for us for a long time to come. And at the end of this, I will probably speak Spanish. I try.
Yeah, you do.
I do, and so far I've managed to not create an international incident. But Rick and I will habla español before this is all said and done, and we will be a better place because of it. So thank you, Rick, and thank you, Mike, for your leadership on this.
Thank you, Mayor Kriseman.
Thank you. It wasn't pretty watching us try and speak Spanish. This trip, for me, was really historic in so many different ways. First, I was really honored to be a part of this delegation and this trade mission, and I too want to thank Rick and Mike and everyone else, Deborah and Lori, and everybody who was involved in making this, I think, as successful as it was. But it was historic, and you're going to hear that a lot, I think, during this press conference today about the focus on regionalization and having the two economic development directors for Hillsborough and Pinellas County, having the two county commissioners from Hillsborough and Pinellas County, having the mayor of Tampa and St. Petersburg coming together in a way that's never happened before to talk about our region and why this is a great region to do business with, and why people should want to come here and do business, and our businesses should have the opportunity to do business around the world, and why that's so important. So I think you're going to hear a lot about the historic nature of this trip, but as Bob said, this should just be the beginning, because we have a lot of great things to sell here in the Tampa Bay area. And whether it's opening the port up so that these shipments of fruit that we heard about don't go to ports like Miami, or even worse, to Philadelphia, and then make their way back here, which certainly has got to be more expensive for the fruit exporters in Chile, but also for all of us as consumers and what we are paying, and the opportunity that we have to wake them up, so to speak, wake the world up to the interests that exist here in this community, whether it is tourism, which exists on both sides of the bay, whether it's economic development opportunities in waste. We heard about wastewater treatment and solar and sustainability and energy, which is a real issue in Chile, and what they're paying for it, and the opportunities our local businesses here who are doing some outstanding things can export those to Chile. There's just incredible opportunities. One of the things we heard a lot about, which I think distinguishes that country from a lot of other Latin American countries, is the rule of law and corruption. They were very, very powerful in their communication with us to make it known that they are different than other areas in Latin America, that rule of law is important, that their government isn't corrupt, and that our businesses can feel comfortable doing business with them as they will feel and do feel doing business with us here in the States. So I think there are incredible opportunities having what is really an easy flight on Copa to go from here to Panama and Panama to Santiago. And the visa waiver program, which I think will open that country up to more of their citizens coming here and seeing what we have to offer here. As Ambassador Hammer said, visiting the Dali Museum and other sites in St. Petersburg. But this is, and these missions are, as the mayor said, these are about relationships. And you cannot do relationships over the phone. You cannot do them in text messages or emails. They have to be face-to-face. And that's where this mission was so successful. And you're going to hear when you get a chance to talk to some of these and hear from some of these businesses who went down and had those face-to-face meetings that lasted all day until they were exhausted in the evening and came back to the hotel to crash. That's what it's really all about. It's building relationships and opening these markets up and introducing people around the world to what we have to offer here in the Tampa Bay region. So this was a fantastic trip. I look forward to additional opportunities like this to let the world know about this incredible community that we have here in Tampa Bay.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner Miller?
Thank you. And when you're always last, everything has been said, so it's nothing left for me to really talk about. But I want to thank everyone that was involved in this fantastic, successful trip. We've talked about how Pinellas and Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa and St. Petersburg have come together as a Tampa Bay region and going over there to try to bring businesses and do business with Chile. As you know, on the Hillsborough County side, economic development has always been an important issue. I want to say the new county commission since I came on in 2010, and it's basically all about jobs. So we heard that in Chile, bringing economic development and working hand in hand with Chile and trying to make sure that both sides of the world can have jobs so people can feel comfortable and have homes to go to and things along those lines. That was very, very important to me and what I heard there. And talking to some of the businesses there, that businesses that went with us and signing contracts already was vitally, vitally important to me. And hearing that some of the companies are still down there working and trying to bring business back to Hillsborough County, the Tampa Bay area, Pinellas and Tampa and St. Petersburg is vitally important because that puts people to work. That's vitally important. One of the things that really stood out with me was when we went to see the American Chamber of Commerce, and they were talking about their startups and
economic
ecosystem. One of the things we're doing in this area, I know they do it in St. Petersburg, and we're doing it in Tampa and St. Petersburg and Pinellas County, is startups. They were talking enormously about getting startup businesses there, making sure people get to work and things on those lines. And that's what we're doing in Hillsborough County. As a matter of fact, you all are invited this coming Thursday at 9:30 to our Entrepreneur Collaborative Center in Ybor City at 2101 East Palm. We invited the Chileans to come over. I don't think they can get cheap flights on Copa that fast. If you can work it out, have them come over. But that's important. Both Chile and the Tampa Bay area are thinking along the same direction, and that's vitally important. One of the things that really, I think we sent home was when Raul Alfonso, we went to the fruit industry, and talking to them about how it is important that they come to the port of Tampa Bay. We asked them, why do you go to Miami? It was, it's tradition. Why do you go to Philadelphia? Well, that's how you get the fruit to the Midwest. But last year, they had a major problem because all of the snow they had in Philadelphia. They talk about the West Coast. And one of the things we said, okay, you want to talk about the West Coast? Come to the West Coast of Florida. Come to the port of Tampa. And I think we opened up the eyes because, Raul, you did an excellent presentation about how cheap it would be for them to come to the port of Tampa. But there's some things we got to look at in the future. One is refrigeration at Tampa International Airport. We're going to have to make that commitment some way, somehow. I'm not on that board, but Bob.
Chris?
That's a commitment we're going to have to make because if we want to get in the business of the fruit and the flowers and things like that come from South America, we're going to have to do that. So to all the businesses that went down there, I wish you much success in doing business with Chile. One of the things that I must say on a lighter note, Santiago, Chile, my understanding of talking to some of the people there, did not boom until the last 20, 30, 40 years. They didn't plan for traffic. Don't we ever talk about traffic problems in Hampton? Don't even bring it up. For us to go, I think 3 miles took us about an hour and a half. But that is something that really caught my eye. I mean, it's all day long there. It's something that they're going to have to work on. It's something we should be able mindful of. And again, on a lighter note, we had the opportunity to sample some Chilean food from North, Central, and South Chile. He didn't like the horse too much, but it was fantastic. And I really appreciate you inviting Hillsborough County to go on this trip. You're right. We can't do this by phone. We can't do this by email. We can't do it by text. It takes going, visiting, shaking hands, letting them see us face to face. My Spanish is terrible. I should have paid much more attention to Mrs. Phillips in high school. But we all got our message across, and that's the only way that we're going to do this across this world. Tampa Bay area is the best kept secret in the world, and they're now starting to find out about who we are, what we do, and what we have to offer. And again, it's the governments combined, Pinellas, Hillsborough, Tampa, St. Petersburg, working together. This is the first time this has happened in a long time. I was probably the oldest person on this trip, but I've never seen that happen before. And I'm so happy to work with Commissioner Seal and Bob and Rick and making sure that we bring what is needed to the Tampa Bay area. That's the most important thing, and putting people to work. So thank you so very much for inviting me. I look forward to going back on others if that opportunity presents itself. These are not junkets. I didn't sleep well in Santiago. We worked hard all day, but it was enjoyable, and I learned a lot. So thank you so very much for having me there.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate the effort and the time.